At the end of 2017, I decided that I was going to really have a focus and big push on my Collision of Worlds series book 3 and make sure that I've got that ready in time for doing that. So I've been doing a lot of writing this past year, and I've actually done writing every day so far since the beginning of 2018, which I'm really happy that I've been able to do. I've done things relating to editing. I've even written a pantomime. So I have done a fair bit towards my writing goal this year. So I suppose I might begin with just explaining that is probably one of the reasons why it won't be as full as I'd have liked it to have been. I'd much rather to have shown a much more improvement. So I've been focusing a lot this year when I've been doing my drawing on like poses and particular poses. So as you can see here, I've got a running pose. I just focused on like where the like lines would go and things there. And for some of my YouTube videos as well, I did the practice lines and things for each thing. So this was the one that I did for my Ancient Magus Bride fan art, which I really enjoyed, and I really enjoyed that manga. This happens a lot in my sketchbooks where I kind of start doing something, either don't feel like drawing at that particular time, or what I'm drawing I don't actually like, so I end up just abandoning it completely. Here's one where I was practicing a bit of armour. As you can see, I was kind of like just getting the idea of the clothes and kind of started to get into that sort of 3D sort of mindset. So I was kind of like doing the turn. So I found a lot of my art this time round, I have managed to look into making sure that there's different planes and stuff. So as you can see here, it's kind of like you could almost tell if I'd done proper shading on it, you'd be able to tell that I've been thinking about like where the light would hit and stuff. I'd started doing a bit of a bigger one, but didn't finish it up. Another random sketch where I was just kind of like working on some sort of random pose. I practiced some like jeans and legs type things here, which I quite like the pose, although this foot could be a bit better. Here's another fan art. Now I listened to a book series, all 3 book series pretty much in the space of like a year. That's like over 200 hours worth of things from the Brandon Sanderson Stormlight archives, and I did 2 characters from there. So I did Kaladin and Syl from that series, which I really enjoyed doing, and there is a video of that which I'll link in the description. I decided to have a little go at making a blacksmith. I just thought I'd give it a go and see how that went. Another incomplete sketch. So Mawile is my favourite Pokemon, and I thought I'd do some different sort of designs of Mawile and things. I was thinking of kind of going into doing a bit of different sort of card type things, so like maybe I could start doing a bit of selling some stuff. So I alluded to this earlier, I've been a part of doing like pantomimes and stuff for quite some years now, and this year I actually did do the writing for it. Now whilst I was helping out at the other pantomime, because I wasn't able to be in it this year, I got to doing a few like random sketches just as I was waiting for stuff to do, and I kind of like created this sort of like witchy type character, which I really enjoyed. I really like the way I managed to get the cloth folded over, and I just like the sort of position of the hands and things. So there is some referencing for the character Natsu from Fairy Tail, which is another one of my favourite anime. I wanted to do a fan art of this, and I did actually do a video which I will link in the... So yeah, I just really enjoyed doing this, and here is the final piece of this. I used Prismacolor pencils, and I really liked some of the texture I did. I actually did a practice for the skin tones on this as well, which should be on the next page, so I'll get to that now. So here's the practice for the skin tones, and I just did this sort of blending style sort of thing. I really like this actual sketchbook. I got it from the Works for about £3, and it came with loads of pages, and the paper was quite decent quality. Although when I did start working at the Prismacolor pencils and for the deeper sort of things, it did kind of flake off a little bit, which I wasn't particularly happy with. Another random sketch, practicing a bit of poses and things. A bit weird here how this arm's fallen with that there, but yeah. I believe that this was the last video I actually did for a while. I got really busy with work and stuff, so I wasn't able to do that many videos, which I am really sorry about, but I'm hoping to be able to get into doing a few more videos in the future like this, and I'm really enjoying. So this was my studio perspective thing that I did, although I need to make a new one now, seeing as I've completely changed the layout of my studio. The laptop's no longer on this side of the table, it's on the other side, and I've flipped the table around. So round about, do I have the date on here? No, I don't. It looks like I stopped doing dates on things at this point. But round here, I had like this sort of really funny idea for like 2 goblin type characters. I think what I did was I was listening to not Crunchyroll, I was listening to Critical Role, and they one of the characters that is played by one of the voice actors is like a goblin type character, and I just thought of creating 2 little character type goblins, which I thought would be really quite fun. They're like sort of like street urchins type characters that try and steal, so one of them does like performances whilst the other one steals from people. I recently got into doing like sort of scenes, and I wanted to kind of do some different scenes for my books and stuff, and I just done a bit of thumbnail sketches for this. This is a particular scene from my final book. You can't tell really what it is, although there are dragons in there. And then I wanted to focus on doing the book cover for my novel, and I kind of like did this picture. You should see the video for the book cover, which I released the other day. Here I just did some random poses, some different characters. I quite like this character, and I quite like the way I managed to get the swords. It's clearly not complete, and I was also practicing more running. Maybe that will be appearing at some point, you never know. As you may be aware, last year I got a cat called Pandora, and I've obviously taken loads of photos of her, and I was just doing some like studies from that. This is how it happened, trying to get some food that I put on top of her little scratch stand, and that's her like lying down really cutely, and that's her trying to help me with my artwork. I think I've got a photo of that. I can probably splice that in here somewhere as well. This is for a character design. Now, my next project, which comes after A Collision of Worlds, will be featuring this character. So I will not divulge too much information, but she does do a bit of running, and as you can see, I've just really focused on sort of like getting this sort of 3D aspect there, and some more dynamic action poses like with a flaming sword and stuff. So yeah, I just really wanted to get a bit of practice in there before I start having to properly consider it. And this is the first proper sketch of my for my book cover for the A Collision of Worlds, The Tears of Siren Sacrifice. I scratched out the name here because when I was showing people asking people what they thought, I didn't want them to know what the book cover was just yet. What the book was called just yet, should I say. So now I can let you know it's called The Tears of Siren Sacrifice, and I'll probably splice it up somewhere on the thing here. But yeah, I really like this. It's kind of got the same sort of style as my other 2 book covers with the silhouettes. This is pretty much similar, very, very similar to how I've done the other one. Let's start again. This is very much similar to the final one that I did. I just got rid of the bowl in there, and I think I flipped around some of the colours and did colour in the hair as well. I wanted to practice like the sort of crying things and like the sort of big wide eyes that you can see in anime, and I really actually quite like how this turned out, and it's actually kind of got a similar sort of style to the Learn to Draw manga, which I've been following for a year or so now, and I really like how she manages to capture some of these sorts of things, and I just really quite like the eyelashes and things like that. Here we have another unfinished character design. The ear's quite big on that. Some more random character designs. I've no idea what this was. I just started drawing and quite like it. Quite like the way the shorts are, and also their pose is quite interesting as well. Although I'm not sure what is happening here with the hand, or that might be. Oh no, so that one's part of that one. Never mind. Okay, but yeah, I just thought I'd do a little sort of random character type thing. I quite like this one as well. Sort of dynamic pose. I can see that I'm getting much better at doing feet now, which I'm really happy with, and the sort of armor style there as well. So for part of my job, I've been traveling to London, or Staines near London, as it were. And we went into the actual centre of London. We had to take the tube to get to the centre of London. And I didn't realise this at the time, but even if you go near London, it takes forever to get into London. So it takes about an hour to get to the centre of London, if you're lucky. What I did was I took out my sketchbook whilst I was sitting down in the tube, and just did a bit of random imaginative drawing. I just thought I'd do a gateway into a wood and do that there. I didn't get it finished, but maybe I'll look into that another point. I quite like the sort of depth that I managed to get here. There's like some sort of rickety fences and stuff. Maybe I'll do this for a Halloween type piece. So part of my job isn't actually to do with drawing at all, but they wanted me to like just draw them in like draw our team in like sort of ninja style characters. I've got rid of their names here so that you can't see their names, but yeah, it's just, I just thought it was really funny, and so I did sort of like ninjas and chibi styles. This one is kind of modelled after me with my long sort of hair, and I've got someone trying to catch me in a net and stuff, but it's just a bit of fun. I've not actually got around to finishing any of the characters yet, but hopefully I will get a chance to do that at some point. So here's another one of those characters for a future project that I've got planned, which will hopefully be following on after the Collision of Worlds series that's coming to conclusion at the end of this year. I'm really happy with like this sort of pose, and it's kind of like a sort of post-apocalyptic type setting, so it's quite interesting. Here are a couple of characters from my Collision of Worlds series called Erica and Boina. This is just like a sort of concept sort of thing. I won't go into too much detail because you hear about their story and stuff later on in the book, so I don't want to ruin it just in case anybody does want to pick up my novel. I was just kind of like sat down. What's happened now with my accent? Sat down, just doing some random doodles. I think I was bored at some point, so I just sat down and did some random doodles, and it kind of like ended up being this sort of spaceman, and I like called him Rag and Bone, Space Wraith Bounty Hunter. Who knows? That may well appear. I did this, and I'm really happy with actually how this turned out as a little illustration for my pantomime that I wrote. So when I took a bit of a break from my Collision of Worlds series, I finished off the pantomime that I started writing in 2015. Here is the initial sketch for my Ready Player One fan art piece that I did. I really like how I got this, and I particularly like these sort of rib things and stuff. I really focused on the colour when I came around to doing the colour as well. Here is the like sort of final illustration for or sketch for the Collision of Worlds book cover. What I did was I used my sort of usual technique of doing the initial line work in my sketchbook, scanning it in on the computer, and then going over it in marker. And I really liked doing that. Here's me practicing some more shading. I've kind of like got a little fairy house here, and I really like the way I managed to get these trees, particularly the details on some of them. Not particularly keen on that one, but yeah, I quite like that. I kind of got a little bit bored in the end, so I kind of didn't pay much attention towards the end of it. I think every artist has like sort of moments in their sketchbooks where they just draw something and they're just like, am I five? Yeah, I don't know what happened with this one, but let's move on swiftly. Over the coming year, what I plan on doing is releasing a few videos where I recite or read out some chapters from my novels as I go along. and to pick some scenes from them. This is me practicing the initial scene, which I hope to get out at some point. As you can see, I started off with doing a bit of thumbnail and things there. Here's another one that I've been doing and sorting out, and here's another scene that I've been looking at doing. I really quite like this pose, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. You can see me getting onto another thing. These are two of the main characters, which are quite young at the start of it, but as the story goes on, you actually watch them grow. Here's some weird dragon type shaman creature, just a sort of mechanically type spider thing. I quite like the way I managed to get the legs to look on that. Quite like this one some way. It's kind of like subtle, although the face proportions aren't particularly great. And here's my new profile picture, which I really like now. I kind of like sort of, although it doesn't totally reflect my studio space, I kind of just like how it kind of points everything towards the actual main figure. I don't know, what do you guys think of my profile picture? I'll show you the final illustration. I'd have loved to have done this as a video, but I was having issues with like my recording and stuff. But this is the actual final illustration of that. I used a mixture of watercolour and Prismacolor pencil, and I just really like this sort of style that I managed to get. And I think it's a style that I would like to maybe move on to doing at some point. Actually, I believe that this would be a drawing of my original, my first ever OC, which is called Lily. And in here she's like a child, and then she's like grown up a little bit and stuff. It's a bit awkward, some of the positioning, but we'll improve on that. I really quite like the way that this are, like sort of goggles and things. But yeah, here's just some random drawing-y sketches type things. It's kind of to go with that first initial scene that we saw. This is me doing maths. I don't know why I was doing maths in here, but here's just a random drawing that I drew, a kind of like sort of creepy character. I did some like writing next to it. It's actually going to be probably one of the characters from one of my series, and that is actually the last page of this sketchbook. So I really hope you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed flicking through my sketchbook and sort of reflecting on what I've done over the past year. So until next time, ta-ra.